when it comes to getting bigger and stronger as not just skinny men, skinny guys keep making the same mistake. It's keeping you guys small, skinny, and weak. With the fun analogy I have for you that I thought of this morning towards middle of this video. Anyway, so as of yesterday, last night, to be specific, September 9th, last night, right? So I had a good conversation in the DMs on Facebook with one of my followers that was like, hey, do you have tips for bulking? I was like, I do. And so I was like, the first question that I asked, that I always ask to my skinny guys is, hey, first off, how much protein and calories are you consuming? His response was, I don't know. I don't track. Got it. So I just smiled and I was like, cool. So step one, going back to the basics. If you want to get bigger and stronger as not just skinny guy and bulk up, we need to be tracking and logging our protein and calories. Without that, we are guessing, going in blind, hoping and praying that we're getting enough fuel to grow. And 10 times out of 10, we are not. Ask me, I know. I've been there myself as well many years ago. By tracking protein and calories, we are able to gather that raw data and make an adjustment and assess based off of that data versus going in blind, hoping and praying and guessing. Fine. Anyway, so here is a fun analogy that I thought of this morning to help kind of paint a better picture for you guys as to why this is so important and what you guys are doing and what I also used to do many years ago myself. And this is why I can talk about this stuff, because I made the same mistake myself many years ago. I've learned from it, and therefore I'm now paying it forward to help you guys overcome that same mistake and to get bigger and stronger by doing less and accomplishing more. Anyway, so imagine, so this analogy is based on if you live in the America for the US, right? So imagine if you decided to take a road trip from California to Colorado, essentially like take a road trip halfway across the country going from west to east, right? Now, you're driving a vehicle that also has a broken fuel gauge that does not work and is not accurate. So you're literally taking a road trip halfway across the country with the car that has a broken and inaccurate fuel gauge, right? This is the equivalent of working out 5 days a week or more, putting in lots of effort of 2+ hour workouts throughout the week, and not tracking your protein and calories and not having a good idea of what you're getting in for fuel to grow from those workouts. Okay. Now, so let's say you started your trip from California, and now you make it maybe 100 miles, and whoop, we run out of gas. The car just shuts off. Okay. Now, you fill up until you're full and strive on, right? So this is also the equivalent of eating until you're full with low caloric dense foods that you think you're full, but since you're still not tracking, you're still not getting enough fuel in for growth despite feeling full, and then you keep going from there. On top of which, and you also don't realize this too, is that you also have a leak in your gas tank, along with a massive restriction on your fuel lines at the same time. So you fill up your tank with all of these things going on without realizing it. And this time you make it 150 miles, and the car shuts off because you have a restriction in your fuel lines, which is the equivalent of your metabolism isn't trained enough yet to accept more calories, as well as eating a low caloric dense food that's making you feel full, as well as having a leak in the gas tank, which is the equivalent to sacrificing sleep to wake up earlier for grind mode, to work out earlier and longer and more throughout the week, of not only from 5 days a week now to 6 to 7 days a week, because more is better. So you make it that, so now you make it 150 miles with all of those things going on. And at this point, 6 months to 12 months later of going to town in the gym, doing 2+ hour workouts, doing crazy amounts of volume of 40, 50 or 60 sets or more, which I've seen that high volume, which is madness to me. And now since you weren't seeing results before 5 days a week, you have this logic to, okay, cool. So if we're not seeing results now with that, let's extend that to now 6 days a week or even 7 days a week, and to work out even more while increasing the volume even more of the workouts. Oh my, so you see where I'm going with this. So instead, so you're putting in all this effort, but yet you're still not getting in enough fuel or enough sleep for that matter to actually grow from those workouts, from that stimulus. In the event that you're creating a stimulus in the first place, because you're probably also going at half effort that I've talked about in previous videos already with these massive volume workouts that are physically preventing you. That's not possible for that matter to put in 100% effort because it's too much volume to work with, and that's covered in a whole separate video that you can watch on my channel as well. Anyway, so you see where I'm going with this already. So we're putting in all of this work in the workouts, which is actually the easy part of growing big and stronger and bulking, which is the driving part in this analogy, and yet we keep overlooking the basics of food, water, and sleep. By taking the time to log and track our foods to know exactly how much protein and calories that we're getting in, which are the two most important numbers for not just getting guys to grow bigger and stronger, at least from the start, without taking the time to properly track that and to gather that raw data, to then assess and make adjustments on that based on what we need to grow from there. We're going in blind, hoping and praying and guessing the entire time, the same as going on a road trip with a broken fuel gauge on top of a leaking gas tank, as well as a restricted fuel line that it's going to give you problems super quick. On top of that, too, that's also not even including the performance issues that your engine can have with the restricted fuel line, which can show up with us of mental health obstacles, mood, energy, all that stuff, which is a whole different topic by itself. But again, like, these are all the things that are going on that can be prevented and overcome simply by taking the time to track and log your protein and calories for growth. Yes, it may seem very annoying at the start because it's something new to you. It's a new habit that you're building, and it's time consuming at first. I get it. I've been there before. I've done it myself. A few years ago when I started tracking this stuff myself, it was time consuming. It was annoying. But over time, after putting in the reps over weeks and months and years at this point, I went from doing it on paper and track it and looking at the actual nutrition labels of food to get the exact calories of servings of whatever that I was getting, tracking that down. Over time, I was able to go from taking 20 minutes to do it to now doing it in my head in 30 seconds or less. Now I can literally, so I went from doing that of upwards of 15-20 minutes to today of I now simply do it in my head at night of, hey, it's 9 o'clock at night or whatever, and I literally just do the math in my head in less than 30 seconds, and then to establish if I still need to eat some more protein, if I need some more calories, or if I'm good for the day, and all of that is because I was tracking them in the first place. Because had I not been doing that, I would have no idea. And then, yeah, that's a fun it's a fun adventure from there. So by putting in those reps over the weeks, months, and years, to now be able to do that in my head in seconds, I now know exactly how much I needed to grow, on top of knowing where I'm at for the day to make that assessment of whether or not I need more to grow, or if I can just go to bed and sleep off and just having that fulfillment and satisfaction of, hey, I got my fuel in for the day, we're good. I got my work in for the day, cool. I can now relax, right? You get your essential task in, and now you can relax. So point being, with that whole analogy in the first place of putting in all of that effort and all of that work, correction, I don't know about you, but I'd be absolutely pissed if I was putting in all that effort, all that work in the gym 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week and not seeing results in 6 months to a year from now. I'd be pissed, especially not seeing results because I was not doing what I need to do of my own homework to make sure that I was getting enough fuel and that I needed to grow from that muscle growth and stimulus response, assuming that I was even doing getting a good enough workout in the first place, which is a whole different conversation by itself, and that's covered in separate videos with that too. But I'd be pissed if I was putting in all that work, all that effort in the gym and not getting bigger and stronger and seeing results, all because I was overlooking the basics of growth protocols with food, water, and sleep. Oh my God. And that's why I keep preaching this, because I'm seeing this every day with not just getting guys that are reaching out. If, hey, I've been working out for 6 months to a year and I'm not seeing progress, I'm looking for tips. And the first question I ask them, hey, how much protein and calories are you consuming? And then secondly, from there, alas, what have you tried so far that hasn't worked out for you? Excuse me. And again, 10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10 so far. Well, actually, correction. In this case, when they're not getting bigger and stronger, 10 times out of 10 with this case, in the last 6 months, especially just yesterday, it's always been the case of, I don't know, I'm not tracking. Whereas guys that are looking to overcome plateaus after already making some progress with that, those guys are actually tracking their food. However, they just need small adjustments in their workouts as well as their food to overcome the plateau. Which I applaud your efforts, and I'm super so I applaud your efforts for tracking your food and putting the work to do all that. You were already a step ahead of the game. Kudos to you for that. That's awesome, and I love to see more and more of that. But 10 times out of 10 for guys that are reaching out because they can't get results in general, it's because, in my experience, that they're not tracking protein or calories. Whereas the guys that are just trying to overcome a plateau, they've seen progress, they put on some weight, they put on some size, but now they hit a plateau. Cool. They've been tracking calories, they've been tracking their workouts, but they just need a small adjustment, a small tweak, and a small pivot with their programs to move forward. That's a different assessment, which I also do that stuff too. I love it. And yeah, so bottom line is, for most guys and most applications, for not just getting men, they're trying to get bigger and stronger, that have seen 0 results. 100% of the time, 10 times out of 10, it's because you are not tracking protein or calories. So if you want to get bigger and stronger as a natural skinny guy, and you haven't seen progress or result in 6 months to a year or longer by putting in lots of work in the gym, but not very much in the kitchen, or eating until you're full and seeing 0 results, I highly recommend to start with step 1 of tracking your protein and calories. Chances are, actually, I guarantee it, that you are not eating as much as you think you are, and then you're getting full long before you actually hit the numbers that you need for growth, because your body is full at maintenance or less than that, or you're eating low caloric dense foods that are filling you up with that too. So once again, going back to the car analogy of a restricted fuel line and leaking gas tank that you're not aware of because you're not tracking food. So if you want to get bigger and stronger as a natural skinny guy, step 1, going back to the basics, food, water, and sleep, by tracking your protein and calories.